first of all, let's just recap Rice for you and your javelin unit. How do you feel like that event went for you to wrap up the regular season?
I thought it went well. It was our big first travel meet this year, so it's good to get that experience under our belt for nationals. And, I think Coach was pleased, and I think we were all pleased with our marks. I think it went good.
How excited are you guys to be hosting MIAA Championships, hosted nationals last year, hosting nationals next year, but kind of get into the groove of hosting really, really big meets here at Welch Stadium?
I think it's good. It's good to get that experience, like I said. Being at home, you can't beat it. We practice here every day. We know the facilities really well, and just getting to be at home in front of our home crowd is a really great experience.
How much of that is, being at home, and how much of it is kind of licking your chops, because it just seems like the javelin flies in Emporia for whatever reason?
Yeah, no, we have a great facility for javelin. I think some with how the wind comes out of Welch Stadium right at our back gives us a nice tailwind, and we have a great runway. Just got redone, so I'm looking forward to being on that. And I think great energy here, and everybody throws well here.
Any additional pressure, or maybe pressure is not the right word, but you guys have conference rivals coming in. You want to defend your home turf. Is there any pressure to perform well at home, or maybe just a little bit extra rivalry behind it, hosting MIAA teams?
I think there's a little extra pressure, but I don't think it's anything. I think we kind of put it on ourselves really more than anything. Of course, you have the people from Emporia come out, and you want to do good for them, and you want to defend your home track, and so I feel like as far as the rivalry goes, it's always going to be there no matter where you're at, but just being at Emporia makes it a little more special to want to do well.
How great is it just being the javelin group that you've got? I mean, you've got a bunch of guys that are throwing really far. Just talk about you guys as a group right now.
I think we have a great group of javelin throwers right now. We're really close. We all enjoy coming to practice every day and pushing each other, and I think that's a huge part of our success is we all want to see each other do well, and coaches given us the program and laid out a really good foundation for us, and just being able to push each other, I think, has helped us out a lot this year.
And then on a national scale, you're talking about the MIAA's got, 5, 6 of the top 10 in the country here, and there's no Jordan Davis out there throwing, 80 meters. So just talk about that competition this weekend and what you might see in a few weeks in Pueblo.
I think right now MIAA has 3 of the top 4 in the nation right now. And so this weekend is going to be like nationals. It's going to be a great warm-up meet. You want to do well, be in conference. And so I think, we're going to see a lot of competition this weekend. We're going to see again in 3 weeks.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Coming down, what's the preparation been like this week? Obviously, you're just fresh out of practice. What are you looking to get out of these practices as you try to kind of hone in? What are you working on getting set for the MIAA Championships?
Well, I think before this week we had been really honing in on technique. So I think this week it's just about kind of using all of the practices that I've had all season to, this week is just a lot of pushing, having fun, and, really trying to get the furthest that I can.
How excited are you to be competing at home coming up this weekend?
Oh, I'm so excited. I was talking about all season how excited I am to have conference at home, not only because I'm so used to our rings, but because I get to sleep in my own bed to prepare for conference. I'm just really excited to have it at home.
And talking with some of the other men's javelin guys, it seems like things just kind of fly here at Welch Stadium. Have you noticed that as well in your throwing events?
I would agree, because I think my season PRs have both been at home meets. Yeah.
Talk about just how tough the MIAA is. I mean, everybody's a provisional qualifier.
Yeah, it is so competitive. I think I was just looking at the marks, and a lot of our conference has provisional marks, and for me, those are PRs. Provos are PRs for me. So I think in the end goal, getting a provo, but also placing out conference is really important, and our conference is perfect for that because it's so competitive.
Awesome.
Good job.
Thank
so
you.
Much. You've had some really fast times here this year. Have you surprised yourself, or were you kind of expecting to make strides in your own game this year?
I definitely was expecting to go better, obviously, than last year. I didn't expect to open the season with a much better time either, but just having last year, I do feel like it was kind of crappy weather throughout the whole year, so I didn't feel like I reached my full potential until towards the end of the season when I started finally moving down in the times and hitting better marks. So, yeah, I definitely think I progressed last year and also this year. And then this year, the same thing. I've only ran the 100 2 or 3 times, but I have put my time down quite a bit, and I'm excited for this weekend.
You've got your indoor national championship sweatshirt on, obviously.
Yeah.
How much do you how much does that kind of add pressure to yourself? Because you always, now that you've set that standard, you want to make that, but how does that also maybe give you some confidence knowing that you are a nationally ranked kind of a track guy who can get into those top times and make a return trip and go back to the outdoor championships?
Yeah, indoor has definitely given me a lot more confidence in the 100 because I do feel more confident in the 100 compared to the 60 as some of these other guys do. And I just think I'm able to propel myself better towards the end of the race compared to other guys, which my top end speed is definitely my strongest I think it's ever been, which is why I think I'm so confident going into this weekend and going into nationals, because I can definitely compete with anybody out there.
Well, and how much of that confidence of being able to compete with anybody comes from the fact that you race in such a tough, difficult conference week in and week out?
Yeah, our conference is definitely, it's stacked. I mean, it's easily probably the best in D2. I see a lot of these guys every meet, every other meet, and then I also see them at nationals all the time, and they're also hitting national marks. So it's great competition, and it's really tough, but I enjoy it.
Hey, talk about all that competition, but you're the man. You're the defending 100-meter champion.
Yeah.
So does that put a little pressure on you maybe? Or?
It does, just a little. I'm not focused as much this year on just making finals. Obviously, I expect to do that, so it's mainly, win it again and come back and do it again, hopefully. And then hopefully, our 4x1 will also take its course and we can get our handoffs down and win that as well. And then hopefully I can put up quite a few points in long jump and we can compete really well as a team this year.
Relay is such a difficult, weird thing because you've got kind of 4 individual races, but boy, are those links in between really, really critical, as we've seen from watching the Team USA men struggle. What are you guys working on in terms of making sure that you get that relay, first of all, getting the baton across the line, but also you want to do it fast, and those things obviously don't necessarily work in tandem well with each other?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that speed helps, obviously, in the 4x1, but I do think a lot of it comes down to chemistry and being able to know your guys and where to put the baton, where their hand's going to be. So it's a lot of placement, it's a lot of steps, making sure the other guy gets out quick enough and you're able to meet at the same time. So a lot of it is just timing and making sure the practice is down to it.
And then lastly, how excited are you to be competing at home?
Oh, I'm extremely excited. It's so good to actually be at home this weekend because normally a lot of people don't enjoy traveling because it's early mornings, it's late nights, it's hotel rooms, not knowing, where you're going to eat and everything. But being able to wake up in your own bed, do your daily routine, and then go and compete is something that I really look forward to.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, the men specifically have kind of been bouncing around in the top 25 rankings and doing some really good things. In terms of the Hornets, how prepped do you feel like they are for the MIAA meet?
I think we're in a good place. It's a lot of prep, a lot of build up to it. We've been talking about it since day one of practice, in the fall, about how exciting it is and being able to host a championship level competition at our home site, kind of 2 years running and going on to 3 years running next year with nationals. But the kids love the place and always seem to just bring a little more energy and vibe to competitions when they're at home. So I think they've known that, they've seen that, they're prepared for it, and we're in a good spot.
Looking at the men's javelin group specifically, just seems like they've been one of the elite groups in the country all year long. When you put that group together, did you feel like, man, this might be the best javelin room in all of Division II?
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for putting them together, but there ain't no way I'm going to do that. Coach Trumbull got them rolling, and Brooks coming off a UCL surgery and Tommy John stuff. So it was there, I think, in the back of both of our minds, Coach and myself, and just watching them do their thing throughout the fall. And then just all the time and drill work they spent indoor in Gym A when they couldn't throw anything during the indoor season where everybody else was able to compete. I think that's why they really just went crazy meet one at our place because they had all that pent-up energy and excitement for that event, and finally getting able to be able to throw and get a chance to compete and show what they're capable of was very, very impressive. And they've been able to hang on to some really, really good things. I think they're all coming in pretty good shape, relative to their fitness levels. And yeah, they're a huge piece to what we're capable of, without a doubt.
You mentioned last year you got a certain number of people to nationals, and you mentioned, I remember we talked last year in preseason, the goal is obviously more this year.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like your teams, men and women, are both in position to be able to do that, to get more to the outdoor national championships, and maybe what are the things that they need to get done this weekend to make that happen?
Yeah, this weekend and next weekend, the last opportunities, from a Division II standpoint to qualify for nationals. So we're coming down to it, but there's no better place and no better real league in terms of competition and competitive vibe and energy to be able to produce some of those marks that we need. But we have a great gaggle of guys, on the national list. Still have 4x1 and 4x4 capabilities of being a provisional team and maybe even a national qualifying team. We just haven't hit it yet. But the list is large on the guys' side, bigger than it was last year, I think, in totality. And I think we'll have more there, especially on the guys' side, than we did last year. In terms of what it looks like currently. On the ladies' side, we've got two that are in pretty good spot. MIAA Manley and Abigail Reed in the 400 hurdles. They'll both, at the end of the day, probably need to go a little bit faster and jump a little bit higher. But I think they're both heavily capable of that. And Miss Malay there on the women's side, just kind of redshirt and getting herself ready and right for a fantastic next 3 years in terms of what she's capable of and being able to produce for us. So just adding, newcomers to this world and to the women's team is certainly something we're excited about doing.
Just talk a little bit this year. You've had some guys that really made some big jumps, significant jumps. Ty Anderson in the 100. Look at Jonah Roomsberg, transfer in here that's over 7,000 points already. Just talk about how that's come about.
Yeah. First year in, you don't know what you're going to absorb as a coach, and it was a great group with a great staff and just really good energy, and the kids just kind of accepted that situation. Hey, we got a new person at the helm. What is it going to be like? What are we going to be able to do? And they just kind of latched on to what I was doing and what we were doing as a staff, and they just fed off of each other more than anything, in all honesty. And next thing you know, just their bodies kept doing what we wanted them to do, and it was a fantastic year one, I think, all in all. And to be able to see them again come back this year, tweak a few things here and there from a physiological standpoint as far as training goes, and still see production, and then some of that freshman class we had last year that were just not quite there developed yet, but we knew they had some talent, and now they're showing themselves as people that are going to be somebody in this league, and that's fantastic to see. I wouldn't want to see it any other way. Obviously, I've seen it other ways, and it's not fun. So when you have energy 2 years in a row, it's a great thing.
And then just talk about the MIAA in general. I mean, this may be as good or better than what's going to happen out in the club.
It's scary, at the end of the day, but you run faster if you run scared a little bit, and throw farther and jump higher when it's on the line to that degree. So, like I said, our kids are in a good spot. They're excited for what's to come here the next 3 days this weekend and even the weekend after, and just chase, a big number hopefully out at Pueblo. I think, like I said, we've got about 5 that are pretty solidified on the guys' side as far as going. But those relays can jump those numbers up in a hurry if we get some stuff done there, and that's the goal. Keep plugging away.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
Yep.